The plan is this. We'll kind of go through all the stuff. You'll kind of write down your questions if you have them. Great. We want to answer them. Because we got to get ready for the 11 o'clock service, we may answer most of the questions out in the lobby just for that. All right? But I'm turning it over to Brett.
Hello. How come I don't get one of the ones that Scott has where I don't have to hold it? Is that just for you? No, it's okay. Thank you. I'm not up here often enough to need that. Hey, listen, my name is Brett Robinson. I'm the operations manager, and I think most of you have been at town halls before. We like to take this opportunity to talk about church business updates. We have a few other church leadership. The ones that can't be here, we're going to show a video at the end, so they're going to provide their updates through video. And this is an exciting one. I'm personally excited about the stuff that we're reporting on because we had a year of COVID, a year and a half of COVID, and now we're starting to see some trends that are exciting. So I'll be sharing a lot of exciting updates, but I also, we want to be transparent. So we'll talk about one of the big challenges we had in the fall was hurricanes. So we had 2 hurricanes, as you know, that impacted our area and the First United Campus. I have 2 pictures up there. Those are both from Ian. We did get flooding in our back alley, and we had some roof leaks as well, but mainly the 17 inches of rain in one day overwhelmed the pumping system back there, and we had about an inch of water in the youth room. So the top picture up there is the youth room, and then the bottom is a storage shed. If you see the damage, those are cinder block rooms. There's not a lot of sheetrock. We didn't have a lot of content damage, but you got to pump it out. We have a basement. I don't know if anyone knows that we have a basement, but that had a good 5 or 6 inches of water in it too. So we did sustain damage from that, not as much from Nicole, other than just some random landscaping debris and things like that. So $15,000 worth of damage was paid for out of reserves. We hold the reserves for that purpose. We will not be receiving insurance funds for that. It did not meet the hurricane deductible. So because the flood was part of a named storm, we have to receive that. We have to get to the percentage of our building value over there, which is over $2 million. So I think we have a 2% hurricane deductible. We have to get about $100,000 worth of damage in order to receive insurance. But we still had Sunday services. We still moved on from that, and I think we were fortunate because then we were able to mobilize with flood buckets, funding, and kind of help the community right after that. Next slide, please. So the Williamson Property, I'm giving the report for Julia. I'm pleased to say that we've closed on the last parcel that we had for sale. So that was parcel C. And I didn't put a map up there, but if you can think of the parcel oriented north-south, this would be the western piece. We were selling a western part of the property specifically for a retention area. One of that retention area we've been talking about for years that the county wants to put on our Williamson parcel, we wanted them to move it. So strategically, we sold the parcel to the developer. The developer has negotiated successfully with the county to move that pond to the western side. So he owns that. We still have 25 acres at the corner of Strickland Range and Williamson Boulevard for future use. You can see there that we put 10% of the proceeds, $27,500, into mission giving, and then $239,182 into further investments, and Mark will talk about that here in a minute. But so for right now, there's no property for sale. There's no property under contract. We've successfully closed all of those parcels that the church voted on, and we'll see what the future holds for the gathering place out there. Can you go to the next slide, please? Do you mind? So here's kind of my odds and ends, just a lot of stuff all over the place. Over time, the Boy Scouts had been in a sexual abuse, a bunch of sexual abuse claims, bankruptcy, and that has affected the United Methodist Church's relationship with Boy Scouts. But the Florida United Methodist Conference and the Boy Scouts have come together so that we can continue to host a troop here. The one thing that I'll tell you, though, is it's a little bit different. That arrangement has changed in that Temple Bethel, which is the temple that's on North Nova Road, is actually the chartered organization / affiliated organization going forward. But the troop will continue to meet here. The troop will continue to perform service projects, have fundraisers here, store their materials. They have every meeting is going to continue on our campus. The arrangement's different so that we have a facility use agreement with us, and that was worked out at a higher level than First United. That was worked out with the Boy Scouts and the Florida United Methodist Conference, mainly for liability purposes. Crockpot Church is starting January 19th, Thursday, January 19th. It's going to be a different message. That's all the details we have so far, right? So it's like Christmas and then everything after Christmas, right? So we're working up to Christmas. We know we're having it. That's really all the details that I have so far, but it's exciting that we're bringing back a Thursday night. We have a logo. It is going to be a different message, and there'll be more details right after the first of the year on that. If you go to the next slide, because I have some redundancy on there. The endowment committee, and we've done this before, but we've done it a little bit differently. The endowment committee has wanted to put together a seminar series. We've done it in a one-day, on a Sunday afternoon or something like that, where we bring in guest speakers and we provide information to anyone that wants to attend. You could be in the church, you don't necessarily have to be, mainly on end-of-life planning. But this time we're changing it a little bit. Starting on January 5th, that's a Wednesday, we have 3 consecutive sessions. They're an hour long each, and each one of those is going to highlight some specific financial tool or financial planning tool. We are going to have experts in all of those fields again, but we're going to dive a little bit deeper, and we're going to do 3 separate weeks. It's called First in Your Finances. The first week, I think it's January 4th, the first Wednesday. Scott's going to give a message on giving, tithing, just some other things that he wants to share. We're going to do funeral planning on that night. Then the next 2 nights, next consecutive 2 Wednesdays, we're going to have budgeting, retirement planning, end of life circumstances, college saving. We're trying to paint a broad picture for everyone. And that's sponsored by the endowment committee. So there's going to be some information on our endowment fund. And then that's a lead into financial peace. So we kind of have this conveyor belt of information that can come at you if you're interested, where we have 3 consecutive weeks of First in Your Finances, and then after that, financial peace. The arrow's going up, right? So attendance, 17% is up on year over year. So I took November's attendance versus November 2022. Our group, amount of people in groups, is up 27%, and we've had 15 baptisms, and our membership's up 3%. All good stuff, right? All of those numbers are increasingly better than the year before. This is November 2021, November 2022. What's neat about that, and Mark may touch on it just for a second, just from a financial standpoint, is that every one of those increases represents some type of step. Somebody made a step to join a group, or to attend in person, or to get baptized, or to join the church. And I think that's just really neat and something that we definitely need to celebrate and be aware of. So I'm jumping around here. Our last thing that I'm going to report on is our counseling center. So I think it may have been 2019, 2020. Dr. Tim McNeil retired. and that left a void in our counseling center office. There was a desire from a number of different leadership members to restart offering a counseling center on our campus. We formed a team. We got delayed by COVID stuff, and I'm pleased to announce that we have recently signed an agreement with the Presbyterian Counseling Center, which is an established counseling organization in our county, to open up a counseling center office in the winter, January or February of this next upcoming year. There's just been a greater need in our community for mental health counseling. Our team has just desired to bring back that offering and provide us a place and a space for people to receive counseling here. So they'll operate independently, but the arrangement is that we're going to offer them that place, free of charge, internet, the ability to come and go as they please, and then maybe that's a resource for our own church members as well as the community. So that's all I have. I mean, if we have time for questions in here, that's great. If not, I'll post in the lobby here for a few minutes and be happy to speak with anyone that wants to ask a question. But I'm going to introduce Doug Wigley. Doug is it used to be Halifax Improvement Team, but now we kind of moved to Building Team. So it's Building Team Chairperson.
Good morning. So, 2 years ago, at least, we started the process, and until we actually sold the land and knew that we were going to have the money, we were kind of in a holding pattern. But we've since decided on our site prep and design team, Zev Cohn and Associates, and we've hired BPF to design the new building. We've had extensive meetings. I don't see Dana here, but Dana's been a real integral part. Dana Smith's been a real integral part of hiring these folks. It's a fairly exhaustive process. We interviewed, I think, 3 different architectural firms and 3 different design teams for the site prep. I'll be happy to speak with anybody after the meeting and give you the why and the who and the where, why we picked these folks. So I don't know what else you want me to discuss other than that. We're moving forward. I'm extremely excited about it. I think everybody, once we start getting some drawings out to everybody, to see what we've got planned, where the building's going to actually be, and how we're going to flow traffic in and out of the campus, I think everybody's going to be real excited about it. So, thank you.
Good morning. So all I do is give good news since I've been the treasurer of the church. My glasses here. So you see the numbers there, year-to-date operational expenses versus our revenue. $999,755 in expenses so far this year versus a revenue of $983,303. That is. It's really important to mention the fact that this is reflective of our day-to-day operations of the church. One thing I talked about a lot in these town hall meetings is the fact that the Williamson proceeds, the money that's from the Williamson Property proceeds, that is separate from operational expenses, our operational funding. So this is what it costs to, essentially, the expenses are what it costs to run the church on a day-to-day basis. And the revenue is reflective of giving and tithing during the year. So those numbers are very good. We have a good month of December. We are going to be at a surplus of revenue over expenses. So the first 11 months of the year, which we are currently, of course, our largest giving month so far was May, $128,000 in giving in the month of May. And September was our lowest month, $65,444. So for the first 5 months of the year, we exceeded budget on revenue. The last 6 months of the year, we have missed budgeted revenue. However, the first 5 months of the year were so strong that we're still in a very strong position financially. Talking the Williamson proceeds, we had about a little bit over $6 million of proceeds from the Williamson sale. Those funds are segregated. We have 10% of those funds go into mission giving, and that's in a separate investment account, as well as the balance of that is into our larger investment account. Those dollars those dollars are invested based on our investment policy statement for the church. The investment policy statement was put in place about a year ago. And so we have a local firm that is investing that money for us in a very conservative allocation, but they have to stay within confines of our investment policy statement that was set up by the church. Year to date on those investment the investment dollars, we've got about 3% loss on those investments. But if you look at the S&P 500, which we all look at probably pretty much daily, the S&P 500 for the year is 19%, is off 19%. So our funding's down, those investment proceeds, that investment is down about 4% for the year. So if you're looking at your account statements, personally, if you saw a 4% loss this year, I know personally, if I saw a 4% loss, I'd be very happy. Unfortunately, my investments are not performing that well. Again, Scott has talked about this a lot. The goal for this month is $150,000 in giving for the month of December, and if we hit that level, that was a very strong financially positioned year. Giving has been very, very consistent, very strong for the year. Again, I mentioned the fact that the last 6 months of the year we have missed our budgeted revenue, but again, the first 5 months of the year were so strong that we are in a very good position going into the last month of the year. I think that's all I have. Brett, anything else you can think of that we can touch on? Okay. Very good. Strong financial year.
Hello, First United, and Merry Christmas from the Staff Parish Relations Committee. I am Marshall Snyder, and it is my pleasure to serve as the SPRC chairperson. My fellow committee members are Angie Giannini, Greg Kipp, Jordan Gelati, Carol Peak, Angie Pye, and Carrie Thomas. Typically, Scott, Amy, and Brett attend the meetings when we have them. One of our greatest accomplishments this year was finding and hiring our new youth pastor, Dylan Reed. Dylan comes to First United with outstanding academic credentials and is a strong track record in the student ministries. If you've not met him yet, reach out to him and say hello. You will find him to be easy to get to know. Dylan is already making a difference here, and the goals he has set for 2023 suggest that it will be a very good year for student ministries. I should note that in order to attract top-notch leadership and get greater participation in our youth programs, we decided that we needed to upgrade the youth ministry position from part-time to full-time. Continuing with the good news, in November, the Bookwalters welcomed Eleanor Kate, known as Ellie, to their family. Mama Caitlin will be out on maternity leave until the end of January. Ellie will be the blessing under the Christmas tree that will keep on giving for a long, long time. Congratulations, Caitlin and Joe. Moving on, Pastor Amy has a couple of things on her Gathering Place Christmas list that I hope you can help her with. She is searching for a part-time worship leader. This is a key position that is currently being filled by volunteers, which is great, but is not a permanent solution. Amy is also seeking an administrative assistant, which is part-time as well. She needs the help so that she can devote her full attention to pastor leadership type duties that will nurture and grow this new expression of what church can be. If you or anyone you know might be interested in either of these positions, please let Amy or Brett know. Well, that's all I have for you today, other than to wish you a peaceful and healthy new year. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Amy Armistead, pastor of The Gathering Place, a new community of First United in the LPGA area. I wish I could be with you in person at today's town hall, but The Gathering Place meets Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Back in June, we moved my office from the First United campus to the Foundry co-working space off of Williamson Boulevard to be closer to the heart of the LPGA area. We also moved Sunday morning worship from Westside Elementary School to the Foundry's common area, which we love. The Foundry has a coffee shop, a cool atmosphere, and the ability to meet with young professionals working and living around LPGA. We have maintained our relationship with our partner school, Westside Elementary, through their food pantry and the Read Aloud with Partners program. 15 volunteers from The Gathering Place, First United, and the community are paired with second grade students and read aloud together once a week. A few weeks ago, a cafeteria worker stopped Becky Pitter, who's the director of this program, in the hallway to share just how big of an impact this simple program had on these kids. And this Christmas, we partnered with 2 families from Westside to provide Christmas gifts for the students and siblings. We're looking forward to spending Christmas Eve this year with our friends at Margaritaville again at 5 p.m. at their Town Square band shell. We're asking any non-residents to pre-register online through our weekly email blast. We have some exciting goals for 2023 too. Our team is growing. We have 2 open positions, a part-time ministry assistant to help with volunteer coordination, event planning, data entry, and behind-the-scenes type logistics. And we also have a part-time worship leader position available. Both job descriptions are posted, so we need your help to spread the word and draw in a talented group of applicants. The Gathering Place has been able to cover our expenses 3 ways: through the Western Expansion Fund, a new church development grant through the Florida Annual Conference, and through the tithes and offerings of our growing community. From January until November of 2022, we've taken in $54,000 and averaged around 43 people in worship, and 27 people are involved in growth groups. While we are excited about doing some long-term visioning for our Williamson property, our priority is growing our community and investing in people. We recently celebrated our 1-year anniversary this past September. We hosted a block party with food trucks and trivia, and we look forward to ways we could connect with our community in the future, like campfire and communion at Tomoka Outpost and a spiritual yoga class through Fluid Form Fitness starting in January. The best way to keep updated with what's going on at The Gathering Place is by signing up for our email blast or following us on social media. We also are in need of volunteers to help with our Sunday morning setup team. If you are interested in serving once or twice a month and have the ability to lift some sound equipment and furniture, email me at aarmistead@firstunited.org. The Gathering Place is grateful to be a part of the First United family and for the ways that God has worked through us to dream big dreams for Daytona Beach by making and connecting new places and spaces for people to connect with God and each other. Merry Christmas, First United.
I do say this, one thing I do appreciate about our church is the openness and transparency we have in leadership and all of that. If you ever have a question, honestly, if it's about finances and administration stuff, Brett you can call me all you want to. And I'll tell you what I know, and then Brett will correct me after I'll have to call you back. So probably call and talk to Brett about that kind of stuff. But staff's really helpful on that. We'd be glad. The only thing we will not tell you is who gives what. That you don't get a right to know who gives what. I do, but we're not going to give that information out. We'll keep that, but everything else we'd be glad to share with you. And I'm really excited about next year as we start talking about the building team. I know some people are like, what are you going to do? Well, part of Doug's job is going to make sure everybody gets to share their thoughts and their opinions, and you're right, and we'll hear them, and then we'll go from there. But let's pray. God, for a good year so far and for the finishing up, we just ask for your mercy and your grace to be with us. I give thanks for the leaders and the volunteers who give their time and their talents to help us become the church you're calling us to be. Help us have a great Christmas, Lord. Amen.